everyone. John Gonzalez here from MLive.com, and you are listening to The Going Gonzo Show, which you can hear exclusively on MLive.com and our Facebook page, Facebook.com. Search for Going Gonzo Show. All right, now let's get to the show. All right, so where are you at right now, Mr. Daniels?
I'm in Michigan.
Beautiful Michigan. Wow.
Yeah, I think the wind chill is going to be 25 below or something. Can't wait. Bring it on.
Boy, do you remember a winter like this in a long time? I mean, I just can't remember.
I don't remember 25 below. I remember 22 inches of snow in high school in the 70s, but I don't remember this kind of wind chill, no.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't like it. Maybe I've been a Michigan person my whole life like yourself, and I thought I would probably, work here, retire from here. But now the sunny sun, the Florida, California is sounding pretty good.
Well, shooting Newsroom, usually last two seasons we've been in California from November to June, and I've kind of embraced that California winter, which is, oh my God, it's 55, it's chilly. So, I'm trying my best to ignore the fact that it's, bone-chilling cold here.
What's the trick?
What's the trick? Beats the alternative. The alternative could be you're dead. Then it doesn't matter. I just look. Today's today, and it's 25 below. So, try not to be outside and find some things to do inside. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I like it. Hey, you have a string of shows that this Michigan tour, but you're going to be everywhere: Traverse City, Bay City, Kalamazoo, Fremont, Mount Pleasant, Monroe. Ann Arbor, where aren't you going?
Yeah, we're at Chelsea. I'm not going. I just played Chelsea. That's at the Purple Rose. Yeah. I enjoy running around Michigan, and they've got some great venues here. A couple of opera houses, and I just enjoy it. And it's kind of I get to pull out some of the Michigan songs, and I just enjoy walking out with a guitar and entertaining people. And I had some time before Newsroom starts up again, so we booked some shows.
Well, that's fantastic. I know that you've done some interviews with our sister publications. I saw the interview with John Liberty at the Kalamazoo Gazette and also the Bay City Times, and we thank you so much for offering and giving of your time for that. But, they did a great job of kind of, covering those things that everyone knows about, which is Dumb and Dumber 2, the Newsroom and so forth. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this love affair you have with Michigan, because you could live anywhere, really, as an actor.
Yeah, and it's interesting. In 1986, Kathleen and I moved back here. We had a 2-year-old son at the time and ended up having a couple more kids. They're all in their 20s now, but it was home. And she had family here. I have family here. And I knew I was going to be on the road a lot. And I just felt that it was a great place to raise our kids. Kathleen and I had both been raised here, so good enough for us, good enough for them. I knew we'd get a heavy dose of L.A. and New York, and it turned out London. We got to go to London to shoot 101 Dalmatians and took the kids. So I knew we were going to see the world a little bit, and it was just a great home base. And I honestly didn't think the career would last. And so...
Really?
No, it does. They just don't.
Yeah.
We're all, Tuesday, you call your agent and you go, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're over. You just,
right.
So you keep waiting for that call, but when it's over, why don't we just be home? And so there was a little bit of that, little fatalistic approach to the career, but it's just always been home, and we've enjoyed it. And I remember when I moved, there weren't that many. I could think of Redford was in Sundance. Sissy Spacek was in Virginia, I think, and maybe Tommy Lee Jones is in Texas. It wasn't popular to live somewhere else, and now we're all over the place. Actors are everywhere, yeah. and it's okay to be from anywhere and live anywhere, and you still go to wherever you're going to shoot the movie or TV show. But I kind of was, one of those early, creative pioneers.
Well, I tell you what, in Michigan, I give my hats off to you, because you were a pretty young guy at the time. You could have been kind of soaked up in the whole L.A., New York culture, and just said, you know what, this is part of the game.
I was brought up right, not only by parents, but also in New York at the Circle Repertory Company. Marshall W. Mason and Lanford Wilson in particular, they really taught me what it means to be an artist and an actor, not a star. Be the best actor you can be. Attack it, as an artist, as someone who's serious about his craft. All of those lessons. So when you go to Hollywood and you butt up against people that don't have those, where it's about the glamour and about the fame, and they literally, they're talking to you, but they're looking past you to find someone who might be able to get them, something that they don't have at those parties. I just rebelled against it and was never into it, never bought it. When it did happen, like in ways like Dumb and Dumber in terms of endearment, I was always standing next to someone else who went further, whether it was Jim Carrey or the megastars of terms of endearment. I was never the guy. So I was kind of along for the ride but didn't get sucked up in it. And frankly, again, didn't think it would last. Was very aware that careers go up and down, and right now it's up, but eventually it'll be down, so stay neutral. And Michigan helped that. And it served me well because I'm still around decades later.
You sure are. And speaking of of your experience in Hollywood, your early experiences, the first time I was there, I went to some director's house. We had dinner there, and everyone around the table was talking about the business, and I felt like I was in a different world. Like it just felt like they're having conversations that we just don't have in Michigan,
Yeah, you can take it seriously, and and it depends who you're sitting with. But coming from Michigan and going to Hollywood, every time I walked on Warner Brothers lot or Sunset Gower Studios where we shoot Newsroom, you see the history. You see that in Soundstage 7, where we shoot Newsroom, they shot Pal Joey. They shot Bridge Over River Kwai. Things like that, mm-hmm. I love the history of it, and you're the thrill of that. Where if I lived there, I was afraid that I'd just fall into the factory town and the business of it, and I'd lose some of that. And in Michigan, a movie is something you go to on Saturday night. In L.A., it's something else, and so I never lost the fact that this is something that we hope people want to see, on a Saturday night, and I've never lost that.
Now, you mentioned Marshall W. Mason. I know you were a student at Central Michigan University. Go Chippewas! I'm a Chippewa myself. But it was early. It was during that time when you met him, and he kind of helped you get your break, right?
Oh, without Marshall W. Mason, I don't have a career, because he saw me. I was at Central Michigan University. I was doing well in their theater department, getting a lot of great roles, and I read the CM Life newspaper.
Yay!
That morning in the library. Instead of studying, I'm looking at the CM Life paper, and it says auditions at Eastern Michigan University for a 4-play rep festival this coming spring. 1976. So I said, why not? Let's go see how I stack up against kids from around the state. Went down, auditioned. Long story short, got the lead in 2 of the 4 plays. One in particular was directed by this guy from New York who was coming out as a favor to Jim Gussup, the head of the theater department at the time, picking up a check and directed some college kids before he went back to New York. And it was Marshall W. Mason. And it was the lead in Summer and Smoke. And before the first performance, he took me out and he said, well, you know what you should do with your life, don't you? And he convinced me, my choice, to come to New York, skip the center, drop out of Central with a year to go, come to New York, join Circle Repertory Company, become an apprentice, an actor there, a resident of the company, and start your career. And that's what I did. But Marshall found me. Otherwise, I drive to New York. Maybe I get the breaks. Maybe I don't. But all I know is those first 2 years in New York, I had one foot leaving the city the whole time. And he kept me there until I got comfortable and realized that maybe this truly is what I should be doing with my life. He's the reason I have a career.
Do you ever think back to those days and go, what if that doesn't happen? What if I'm not reading CM Life? What if I'm in class that day?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably at my dad's lumber company, and with my brother now, helping to run that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it. I don't think I. Acting was always something I did well. It came naturally, but it was never something that I was dying to do and had to do. That eventually became the focus. Like anything, you got to have the drive and the ambition and the focus and the talent. You got to have all those things. But that came after about 4 or 5 years in New York, and it came after Purple Rose of Cairo.
Sure.
That's when Woody Allen told me I was good. I would say, okay, all right, I'm sticking around. I'm in this for the long haul. But that was 9 years in.
Yeah. When Woody Allen says something like that, of course, you got to take it seriously. Hey, you mentioned Chelsea and Purple Rose. I've been to Chelsea a few times now. In fact, I think 2013 was my year of being in Chelsea. You have a great brewery that just opened up, and you also have a great pizza place too.
We've got a few of those things. Yeah, it's this community's really changed. The Purple Rose came in '91. And suddenly a restaurant would pop up, and then the Common Grill came in, and then now suddenly there were 2 hotels added, and bed and breakfasts, and art galleries, and breweries, and pizza. It's a cool little community. I'm real proud to live there.
It definitely is. And speaking of living in Chelsea, where else do you like to experience Michigan? Obviously, I'm sure you travel the state quite a bit.
We enjoy the Upper Peninsula. Kathleen's got family up near Marquette, and I like going up there. You really can kind of leave the world up there. They're very happy to kind of close the bridge and the border, and the Upper Peninsula folk just go, we're fine. We don't need any help up here. So if you can get in there before they close things up, it's really kind of a cool place to be. I love the kind of there's just kind of a freedom up there that is really cool, really cool.
Yeah, no, I've been to Marquette as well, and they have great breweries there too. They're everywhere in Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I really appreciate your time. Obviously there are a lot of other things going on. You got this movie Dumb and Dumber 2 coming up, and I know you're excited about that.
Oh my God, to be able to do it again, and 20 years later, it'll be the 20th anniversary when it's released next November, and to be with Jim Carrey again, it was great. He's a friend, and I'd like to think the second one's better than the first one. I'm hoping it is. It sure felt like it.
I put on Twitter if they had any questions for you because we're going to be doing this interview. My friend Jay wants to know who's playing left field for the Tigers this year.
Good question. Man, I think they're waiting to see if Andy Dirks, who I believe was hurt in the past season, comes back healthy and has that bat where he's hitting 290 or something like that.
That'd be nice.
It seems like that's what they're going with, and man, as long as he hits, I'm a big fan of the younger guys. I'm a big fan of Castellanos and Iglesias. My God, the guy's a magician.
Wow.
And Dirks, if he can go back, if he's healthy and he comes back with that pure, where they can start talking to him about what a swing and a pure hitter. If that guy emerges, then I say, stick with him, and why trade for somebody that may or may not do it.
You like the new coach, Brad Ausmus?
I think it's a great hire. I think Dombrowski is it's a real smart hire. Being a former catcher, he's very smart. Brad, I mean, you look at his resume and where he's been, and his knowledge of pitching, and it brings an energy. Leland I really like Jim Leland, and but now to go in a completely different direction with a guy who's never managed before at this level, but has that energy of a younger manager versus someone who was just fired from some other team and now is brought in. I like the hire. I like it a lot.
And do you catch every game, or try to watch the box scores, or what do you do?
I'd say we catch 90% of the games, whether on television or even on Newsroom. During season 1, there are scenes where on my iPad I've got that MLB.com
Sure.
TV thing.